It's finally game day. The Illinois Final Illini are in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2005. I was 14 years old. They are there. They're there. Back to the Sweet 16. All the Brad Underwood haters have shut up. They have no more things to say. We have, according to stats, the number one offense versus the number one defense when they take on the Iowa State Cyclones. This is going to be one of the best basketball games that you're going to have. Me personally, because they're so evenly matched, number 2 seed versus the 3 seed. It's game day. We're all super excited. Illinois, we've been waiting for this for a long time. 19-year drought. Have not been there since Illinois made the championship game with D. Brown, Darren Williams, James Augustine, Roger Powell Jr., Luther Head. They're there, finally. So let's talk about... First, we got to address the Brad Underwood haters. Go check out my other episode with Cody Del Mendo. We talked about the Brad Underwood haters. Where are all the Brad Underwood haters now? Where are you? You wanted him fired last year before, but talked about getting him fired. Where are you? Haven't seen you. Where's the guys that post the video of him screaming and yelling at refs or him screaming and yelling to the players? Where are you? Where are you? You're not here. Oh, because you have nothing more to say. Nothing more to say at all. First of all, some are Illini fans. Some claim to be diehard Illini fans. I have no idea where you've disappeared off to. He is the winningest Big Ten basketball coach in the last few years. Where are you right now? Because you're not here. Where are you? Come on, pop in, leave comments. People are going to watch this. I want you to comment. What's your excuse now to fire him? I was the guy on here defending him. What about the players that transferred? Well, Steve, they couldn't handle him. He's the reason why they're leaving. Last year, they had a lot of players leave. He had to adjust to the transfer portal. The days of building rosters up as freshmen, you could do that with a couple players, but those days are essentially gone. They're gone. And that's how Brad Underwood made his coaching style or his name when he got to Illinois, recruiting players, getting them to where they need to go. Look at Ayo Dosunmu, look at Kofi Coburn, other players. We had some players leave. The players that left, they're now in the transfer portal again. Miller's in the transfer portal again. Sky Clark went to Louisville. He's in the transfer portal. Well, I don't care. They're leaving. Where they could have stayed with Illinois, had a stable head coach, but they left. Well, all you haters told me that it's because of his coaching style. Maybe freshmen can't handle it. But I think it says something when Coleman Hawkins and Terrence Shannon Jr. decided to try to go to the NBA, and they had the option to come back. They came back. They didn't leave. They didn't decide to not come back. They stayed, or they decided to come back because their NBA draft status wasn't as high. This was going to give them another opportunity. I think this gives Terrence Shannon Jr. an opportunity for the NBA next year because of how well he's played. But ultimately, they came back because they knew what Coach Underwood was going to bring to the table. He's going to demand the best out of them. And he rebuilt this program. It took a couple years. So Brad Underwood has finally got over the hump of the second weekend. We're now in the Sweet 16. I guarantee if they lose this game, people are going to call for him to be fired because they say this is a championship team. Nobody at the beginning of the year thought this team could get to a Sweet 16. The coaching job from him and staff has been amazing. The play from the players has been amazing. Different tweaks by the coaches and Brad Underwood have been amazing. The haters are now gone. Thank goodness. I hope we keep Brad Underwood for as long as he wants to be here. Pay him what he needs to be here because he's rebuilt the program. He's gotten 2 Big Ten tournament titles. He's gotten a regular season Big Ten. So if you come to Illinois, you bet that you're going to be competing from resume for right now. You are set to possibly win a regular season Big Ten or a tournament Big Ten or compete for it. So thank goodness they didn't listen to fans or listen to the experts on Twitter talking about tantrums that he throws. These come from people that have never coached a day in their life. These posts, oh, well, I played middle school basketball. I played high school basketball. So did I. But then you go coach, and it's a different world. The Purdue fans also have been outrageously annoying. Got into it with a guy. He has like 200 Twitter followers. He literally went to my high school website, screen recorded his phone, and scrolled and said, I hope you're not this freshman basketball coach, and like look at the record and stuff like that. Because I told him like he's not coaching, he's not helping kids. But these were what I call Twitter trolls. Now, you could call me a troll sometimes if you want. I like to stir the pot every now and then. But they put up how Illinois, the two difference between winning, and showed the water gun fight that Illinois had in the locker room versus Purdue. And they said, job's not finished, job's not finished. Well, listen here. Purdue has had higher expectations than Illinois, and Purdue has always been knocked out early. This is the first time. They haven't been in a while. So they've been knocked out. They've had high expectations. Win differently, right? That just shows last year the big talk was the locker room, and I agree. I think the locker room wasn't quite together as it has been in the past, or it's more together now than it was last year. That water gun fight just shows how fun they have, and they can relax, and they don't have to be so stiff. You've got to make it a fun environment. I'm not saying Purdue's not having fun. If that's how they conduct themselves winning, each team's going to be different. Illinois is not being cocky. Illinois is not going over the top. Every time they win at home, they do some type of water bottle thing. So Brad Underwood, to keep it going, maybe superstitiously, said, okay, this time I'm going to bring in a water gun, and just shows fun. But Purdue fans, they want to go after Illinois fans, and why? We're not on the same side of the bracket. We have nothing to do with each other. This is the point where you kind of root for the whole Big Ten. This makes us not want to root for the Big Ten. Now I don't want Purdue to win. Not necessarily was rooting for them, but you root for the Big Ten, so it shows when the Big Ten teams are doing well that they're a good basketball conference. So Purdue fans going out there, being idiots, posting this stuff. And there's Illinois fans doing it too. We need to stop that. There was a video post about how boring the Purdue play was. And I had to defend the Illinois thing and say, oh yeah, it's boring. That one particular play was boring. Purdue's good. Like if they want me to say that and other Illinois people, they are good. They're a good basketball team. If you want me to say it, good. They're a good team. I don't know what else to tell you. If you want me to keep into that, cool. Whatever. But Illinois is about to play Iowa State. This is our pregame. Got off a little tangent there. This is our pregame. I won't be able to do it right before the game starts. Hopefully we'll be able to do one after the game starts. I don't know why they're playing it. All these games are late. I wish they were all at 5 p.m. coming in here. It's 3:40 Central Time. I wish it was 5. And just kind of went from there, but they're not going to play till 9:10 Central Time, 10:10 Eastern Time, which is crazy. So hopefully can do one after the game, and hopefully you all can join me live. It will be live. So hopefully you guys can join me for a reaction. Hopefully it's a win to get to the Elite Eight. It's going to be an exciting game, and kind of the keys to this game is you're going up against I guess statistical wise, the number one best defense in Iowa State. Iowa State, they made it to the Sweet 16. It's the second time in 3 years they've made it there, so they're experienced making it there. They won 67-57 over Washington State, who was the number 7 seed. Illinois is getting there from beating DeCoin, 89-63. Terry Chandler Jr. has been on a tear. He had 30 points. Domas got 22 points, so they just went off on this team. There's predictions that this will be a close game. Some are predicting Illinois money line. There's a prediction here in USA Today, Iowa State 74, Illinois 71. And the big talk is that Illinois hasn't played a defense quite like this, as good as Iowa State. Better defensive teams, in Michigan State and Maryland. Um, they beat those teams, but Iowa State's a good defensive team. I mean, there's not much more to say it. Um, Not much more to say about them besides they just play defense, which means they're good at on guard balding. They're good at switches. They've been good rebounding the basketball. And so Illinois is going to have to offensively. Here's how I think it could break down. I think that if we play an up and down basketball game, which Illinois is very good at playing up and down, fast pace, fast break type, getting out an open space and an open floor. If that's the type of game that we're going to be in, Iowa State can play that game, but that favors more towards Illinois than it does Iowa State. If we get into a situation where Iowa State's making shots and it has to be slowed down a little bit and Illinois has to run through an offense, they're still pretty good. They're doing a lot of butt ball, bubble ball, whatever you want to call it, with Domask. He's good at posting and making moves. Terrence Shannon's good at driving to the lane, even though it's not fast break. Danny Danger has emerged, and if he continues to play well, Derriere, if he rebounds and is able to hit a couple shots, that type of game Illinois can still play. But if you're in a half-court game, both are making shots, and we're getting to that half-court type of game, I think that favors more Iowa State than it does anything else. And so I think that's just Illinois. Illinois also, keys to this game, is they cannot afford, in my opinion, to get down again. You know, they can't afford to be down 10 to 15 points, come out in the second half, have 16, 15 to 10 minutes left, and then all of a sudden turn it on. They can definitely do it. We've seen it in the Big Ten when they face Wisconsin. We've seen it in this tournament. But Iowa State is such a different defensive animal that if you decide, or not decide, if that starts to happen, we're going to be in trouble because they're really good at defense. And when they're good, that type of defense you can't do. You just can't do it. Iowa State, they make 46.5% of their shots this season. It's 3.5 percentage higher than Illinois. Illinois makes 43% of their shots. Illinois averages 8.4 3-pointers. Iowa State makes 7.3. So this is a really good, evenly matched setup that we have going on here. Lipsy from Iowa State, he averages 12.5 points per game, 4.9 assists. Gilbert, he's averaging 12.1 points over the last. Terrence Shannon Jr. is averaging 23.3 points, 4 rebounds. Coleman Hawkins is averaging 1.33 points made over the last 10 games. Obviously, those are key players. And Domask, I think that, you know, you look at a lot of these reports, he kind of gets left out. The ISO game that they're doing in the tournament, I think, has been huge. He's, again, I've already said it, post him down. Again, you want to talk about how evenly matched we are and how similar these teams are. Iowa State's 9-1 over the last 10 games. They're averaging 68.5 points per game, 31.3 rebounds. They get 14.2 assists, almost 10 steals. They're shooting 44% from the field, and then they're only giving up 57. Illinois in their last 10 games are also 9-1, but they're scoring 87.7 points per game. They're getting 37.4 rebounds, exactly the same assists. They're only getting 3.9 steals. Iowa State's getting way more than that, shooting 50% from the field. But the difference here is we're giving up 78 points, excuse me. So very similar teams in a lot of statistics, but that big one that everybody keeps talking about is the defense. How is Iowa State doing that? Well, they're really good at closing out on shots. They're really good at pressuring the ball up the court. They're really good at denying. And I know Illinois is getting more rebounds, but Iowa State is a good rebounding team because they're forcing bad shots. They're forcing you to use a lot of that clock and waiting till the last few seconds to try to get a shot up. And that's why I think that if we can get in a fast-paced up and down game where if we can force some turnovers and we get up and down the court, that's going to favor Illinois. Well, how does that work? Well, giving up 78 points a game that doesn't really help us, but that part gets overlooked because we are scoring close to 90 points a game over the last 10 games. Illinois is going to have to pick up their defense in this game. They are going to have to be better at closing out. They cannot afford to give up offensive rebounds like they kind of did versus DuQuoin. Now, DuQuoin, they were really good at offensive rebounding. That was part of their success and how they got to the tournament. But you're going to have to ramp up the defense a little bit. And hopefully ramping up the defense a little bit is going to turn into some fast break opportunities, which is what we need in order to be successful. I also think we just can't settle for the threes. We cannot fall back into that Illinois team that we've been a couple times and just settle for threes. Unless you're open, obviously, or if you're hot. We can't wait till the last 3 seconds, then chuck up a three. We've got to be able to hit the ball in the post. I think you're going to have to see Terrence Shannon Jr. post up a lot. Don't go away from Domask posting up. Coleman Hawkins is going to have to start to get the mid-range game going. I also think this could be a game, if he continues his hot streak, Dane Danger, that's going to be a key factor. If he can post up, stop people from getting the rebounds for Iowa State, that it's going to lead to a lot. This is going to be a close game. I think the way Iowa State is very physical on defense, the way that defense works, it's going to be a close game. I would love to see another like 89 to 70 win or 63 win by Illinois. I just don't know if that's going to happen. And then you start to get a little worried that, talking to like Cody, go check out that episode. We talk about Illinois, the Sweet 16. He thinks that if we can score 70, 80, 90 points, it favors Illinois to win the game. I agree. If we're getting it to the 60s, the 70s, that favors Iowa State. I also agree. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to favor Illinois. We could score 60 points, but if we can just ramp up the defense, right? We're okay letting teams score because we know we can fast break it. Even if they score, get the ball quick and get down and go and get the one-on-one matchup that we need, especially if teams are deciding to switch and we get the one-on-one matchup that we want. I still think that could be okay, but I think we'll have to spend a little bit more energy tonight against Iowa State playing defense. We're going to have to play tougher defense than we have in this tournament, and we're going to have to expel some extra energy doing that. That means if we have to give up a couple fast break opportunities, that's just what we're going to have to do. We can't afford to let Iowa State make shots, and we have to slow it down. We can run. They run a lot of the chin cut series where you see like Coleman Hawkins or Dane Danger up on the free throw line, back screens, pick and roll. They're coming off another screen, a little bit of backdoor stuff. It's chin cut series. You can do a lot of different things off of. We can do that, but I don't think we can make a living doing that, especially if we have to go with a smaller lineup. Like if Dane Danger's out, Coleman Hawkins is your big guy. It makes it versatile, but I don't think we can live by that the entire game. We do have to get on fast break. We do have to be able to get to the rim. I think that's going to be another key part. If we can get to the rim like we have been, put Iowa State in foul trouble, that will ease off their defensive aggression because now they're going to be in foul trouble. We also, if we're going to expel that type of energy onto the defensive side, which is what I think we need to do, we just also can't get in foul trouble. The comebacks that we have made, or when Illinois finally decides to put their foot down and be that dominant team, they're pretty good. And we're not in foul trouble. We're very aggressive, poking the ball out. I know average the last 10 games, we're not getting as many steals, but we're forcing them into uncomfortable shots. We're getting the rebound, and then we're gone. That's the key things here for Illinois. And yes, it's a little nerve-wracking for this game just because Iowa State's that good. Guys, they're that good on defense, especially in this tournament. And so far, the first two rounds have been favorable for Illinois. Iowa State, their tough game was Washington State, who was not a bad team. So the argument here is who is more battle-tested in their conference, who is more battle-tested in the tournament. But Illinois right now is confident. I think Terrence Shannon Jr. is very motivated from the allegations towards him. I think he's very motivated from, last year not getting as far as they wanted. That locker room is way closer than they were last year. You saw that in the locker room. They had the water balloon fight. So I think a combination of all those things can lead to an Illinois victory. I keep looking at the predictions. It kind of goes back and forth. A lot of people are leaning more towards Iowa State. but I think this is going to be one of the more closer matchups in the tournament so far. Well, for the Sweet 16, I should say, just because, like I said, the statistics are so close together. The teams are built almost similar. Illinois is just going to have to finally say, we have to play better defense, and I think they know that. Force Iowa State. If you force Iowa State into some bad shots, Illinois is going to be good in position. If they're hitting shots and we're forced to slow it down a lot, it's going to be more favorable to Iowa State. And so Illinois just got to be themselves, but they cannot afford to be in that half-court game the entire time. They cannot afford to get in foul trouble. And I think if you do get Iowa State in foul trouble, it is going to put them into a situation where their defensive aggression is going to have to back off a little bit, which then allows you to get some open shots. And then we got to start knocking them down. But we got shooters. You start posting up and getting them to pump fake. If you pump fake and get them to try to block your shot, which most aggressive defenses, that's what they want to do. They're averaging 3.2 blocks in the last 10 games. Iowa State is. We get into that type of game, we're going to be okay. So I think those are kind of the key factors going into this game. Illinois seems very, very motivated because the reason why people want Brad Underwood fired is that they believe the last 2 years or couple years, how could they not get out of these rounds? How could they not get that far with the people they had? And so they've claimed he's underperformed, but guess what? He's here. Nobody wants him fired now. And people don't understand that when you're building a program, especially where Illinois was. Brad Underwood said it. Like he really thanks the Ayo Dosunmus and the Kofi Coburns and those guys because they set. You have to build the culture. You have to get there first. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it don't. We've seen teams get those type of players. They immediately go on to do something, Sweet 16, Elite Eight, maybe a championship. But if it doesn't happen, they're setting the standard. They're getting the program there. And these guys have seen it. Coleman Hawkins of the world, Terrence Shannon Jr. saw it last year, the way Brad Underwood and company conduct themselves. And he said it. He goes, those guys are smiling because they set the precedent. They set up the culture and the standard, more of the standard than that word culture, but they set the standard. Like now it's here. Now they've built it. Now hopefully we're putting the roof on. When you're building things, Brad Underwood gets there, you're adding a new slab. Each year goes by, you're adding a wall, a divider. Hopefully one day you get to the roof part. And so hopefully right now, if they can compete and put themselves in a position to get to the Elite Eight, you're putting on that roof. And so hopefully that's what will happen. But again, that's what the key factors are for this game. Not a lot of key factors, just kind of those things. The KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. So the simple ways to try to do this, that's exactly how they're going to have to do it. So hopefully we get a good game. That's all I want. I want a good game. Hopefully Illinois shows up and is very motivated and just continues to do what they do. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the game. If you're watching or listening to this before the game, try to join me live on YouTube. Hopefully I can get live after the game's over. It is a late game, but if you want to stay up and have an instant reaction of winning or losing, we'll try to go live on here. So like and subscribe on the YouTube channel so that you know that it's live. Follow the podcast and rate on Apple and iTunes to get the audio version. Check out all the great episodes that are on there if you guys like listening to coaches, college football coaches, different things on there. Chicago Bears. I just did an episode from Cody Delmendo from CHGO, their own podcast thing. He does the Chicago Cubs. He's a big Illini fan. He has his own YouTube channel and does Illini stuff. Check that out. We talk about Illini, so go listen to that part too. Follow on TikTok at Coach Steve 72. Maybe try to get more stuff there, I guess. Instagram, Coach Steve 72. Instagram, The Coach Steve Show. All that stuff. So thank you guys for watching or listening. Join us for the live reaction post-game from the Illini versus Iowa State. Enjoy a day of basketball, and we will see you guys next time.